Good afternoon or good morning, whatever is most appropriate. Welcome to the Florida Real Estate Seminar. I'm Randal Jenkins, and I appreciate your attending this meeting. Today, we're going to cover costly mistakes. We're going to talk about buying real estate. I'm going to give you a heck of a insight into down payment assistance. We're not going to touch on home equity lines of credit, but I will tell you this. If you are looking for a home equity line of credit, it's the best way to get money for the equity in your home. For those of you who are buying a home and don't own one, you don't realize, but a lot of people out there bought homes when interest rates were so low that they can't afford to sell those homes. But they have a lot of equity and they have no way to access that equity. And the home equity line of credit is the way to go. And I invite you all to reach out to me if you want to talk about home equity lines of credit. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about costly mistakes. And if you're a first-time home buyer, do you feel stressed? Are you anxious? You got to be. I mean, every real estate transaction is stressful. And that's why you need to have someone in your corner that's going to be helping you. I'm going to make an argument why you should make that person me. And if you'd like to book a call with me and talk about it, you can reach out to randyj.zoomseminar.com/book, and I'll be happy to meet with you on a telephone call. We can see what we can do to help you. Our agenda today is education to identify where you are and if you haven't gone anywhere, to talk about the process. I'm going to tell you to use the experience of others. I hope to give you direction and I hope to make a plan, and that will come if we can get together on the phone. Just so you know, I am looking good in this hat. I've watched a lot of these webinars and I've seen what they do, and it is a chance that this is going to get really technical. It's going to cause you to get overwhelmed, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. What I really want is for you to relax. Take notes, don't take notes, write down questions, and we'll get together and go over your questions. I'm Randal Jenkins, 25 years in real estate. I have a real estate investment company. I was a stockbroker for 18 years. I have a saying, it says, you're not doing real estate today, you're getting ready to do real estate. And that's what we hope to do, is to get you ready to go out there and get your dream home, or if you're an investor, to add to your portfolio. Now, if comes time to paying for a house, and I'm a mortgage broker, and part of my desire on this webinar is to get you to realize you have a choice. You can find a house and see if you can pay for it, or you can find the money and then go shopping. And it's real key that you know what your criteria is for the home that you are looking for. And that's going to be a function of what your pre-approval says. Basically, you're either going to be a cash buyer or financing. If you're financing, you're going to be conventional FHA, VA, or USDA, and we need to know what you are. If you Google, what are the steps to home ownership, you're going to get this. Get a pre-approval, go shopping, move into your dream home. And I stuck in there, come to this class, and that's just attempted brevity, because the process of buying a home, and I'm going to go through it, is beyond belief challenging. But we're going to talk about the mistakes. The number one mistake is ignoring home buyer incentive programming. And I'm going to give you a big content on down payment assistance. And these down payment assistance programs will help you with your closing fees. They'll help you with your down payment potentially. They could feasibly get you into a no money down situation. And I want to warn you, if you Google down payment assistance, and I'm going to give you a link to where you can get down payment resources. But if you Google down payment assistance, you're going to get a lot of mortgage brokers telling you how to apply with me and I'll get you this program. Apply with me and I'll get you that program. So be careful when you're looking for down payment assistance programs that you're not being lured in by a mortgage broker who's trying to get your mortgage brokerage business. What are first-time home buyer grants? We're going to go into this and it will cover the specifics, income requirements. Some of them are forgivable second mortgages. Some of them are down payment assistance. And if you're not looking at down payment assistance and grants for your assistance, then you don't need me. All right, there's types of mortgages. I just mentioned them: conventional, FHA, USDA, and VA. Most lenders offer all of them. FHA is the Federal Housing Authority. This is a great way for first-time home buyers to get a home. What happens basically is that you buy insurance that makes your loan attractive. It makes you an attractive borrower because the lender knows that there's insurance to cover the risk. So if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you've got challenged credit, then you're likely going to be an FHA borrower. And I'm going to spend some time talking about FHA borrowers. The benefit of an FHA loan is that the income requirements can be lower. The down payment is lower. It's easy if you're going to refinance with an FHA streamlined loan. The rates are lower. And I say that, but the expenses can be higher. Higher debt to income ratios are accepted, and you can choose between a 15 and a 30-year fixed rate. Down payment assistance and down payment programs are accepted if you go with an FHA mortgage. Right now, there's a presidential designated disaster zone that provides an opportunity for no money down FHA mortgages, and that's only going to be if you're in the right counties and if you were directly affected by the recent storms, specifically Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. A conventional loan is a loan that's not government loan. What you can and you can't use: you can use your 401k, you can use gift funds, you can use stocks and bonds, cash. You can't use cash. You have to turn your cash into the bank prior to your application. Credit cards you cannot use, loans you can't use, and undocumented cash is no good. And this button up here that says cash, it should say money in the bank. Eligibility: you have to be able to prove that you can repay the loan, and you have to have the collateral, and the collateral will be the property that you're buying. If you have questions, just reach out to me. randyj.zoomseminar.com/book is one way. Another way is just to pick up the phone and give me a call. So I promise to go over mistakes, and the biggest mistake, besides not using down payment assistance programs, is to not get a pre-approval. The pre-approval will allow you to know what you're shopping for, and I'm going to talk a lot about what's going to happen if you're an FHA buyer. Getting a mortgage requires you to have good enough credit, good enough income, and a good enough down payment. And that's all going to come from your pre-qualification. And this is one of the most important steps. If you reach out to me, we can do an interview and determine whether or not we should even do an application. And if we do an application, we can go through these steps of what it takes to get you qualified. And then the most important thing, and I'm going to say the most important thing too many times, as I've just did, and that is that you must know what your budget is. There's no use getting excited about buying a home and shopping for a home and finding out that you're not qualified for it. Do call me if you have any questions. Do continue living in your current residence. Continue to pay your mortgage or your rent. Do not use your credit card to go crazy. Don't make any large purchases. Don't transfer any money into your account that can't be justified. Do not do any balance transfers. Here's a wild one. Don't close any credit card accounts. Don't consolidate your debt. Don't apply for new credit, and don't max out or overcharge any of your credit cards. And don't pay off old debt. And that's a weird one, I know. But if you've got old debt that's 3 or 4 years old and it's quiet and there's nothing happening, and you go and you make a payment on it, it will become new current lates. So do not pay off any old debt without at least calling me. Using your bank is a mistake in that most banks charge, and most banks have pretty much it's like Walmart. You buy it, it costs this much. There's no negotiation, there's no creativity, there's no opportunity, or there some big banks don't allow you to use down payment assistance. So be very careful about banks. The biggest thing is that banks have a prepayment penalty, and you don't want to get involved with a prepayment penalty. Wow, there's the slide that says it's like Walmart. You pay what they want. You don't get to, if you don't fit the model, you get rejected. A mortgage loan officer is a mortgage broker like myself that has access to dozens or hundreds of lenders that it can shop your particular situation. Buying from a builder. Let me tell you, the builder has salespeople in their offices and in their showrooms that are wonderful. They're friendly. They don't work for you. They work for the builder. And a knowledgeable realtor will help you keep from getting beat up by the builders. That there are deals that you will not know about when you walk into a builder's showroom. But a realtor can help you figure out what the specials are and help you make the best decisions, especially about upgrades. The builder rep is big time into showing you all the extras that you can buy. Skipping a home inspection is pretty fundamental. You have to have a home inspection. And this is one of the things that I always tell my people is that the negotiation doesn't start until the inspection ends. The cost of skipping a home inspection, we don't need to go through that. Okay, mistake number 6, and this one isn't on anybody else's slide, but this is about not being coached properly in the home buying process. And this is something that I do and I will do, and I've sold a lot of houses. I bought a lot of houses. And in the home buying process, if you're not being coached, and I'm going to go through that extensively in a moment. So let's recap. Don't ignore the first-time home buyer programs. Get a pre-approval. Be careful about your bank. If you use a broker with access to multiple lenders, you'll get a lot more options. Don't skip a home inspection, and definitely don't go to the builder and buy from their agent. Make sure you have someone that represents you. And then finally, being coached on how to buy a property. And I'm going to give you a whole set of slides on the home buying process. You don't know what you don't know. You don't want to get your education from bad experiences. And that's why you need to have somebody that's going to give you the, to be your advocate, to be your person that's going to give you the opportunity to get the best deal you can. So we're going to come into this next set of slides, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to schedule a call with me. Let's just jump through here, book a call, get a pre-approval, go shopping. And whoa, that wasn't supposed to show up. Any questions? Thank you. All right, I'm going to make an attempt to open up another set of slides that's going to give, oh, look at that, it worked. I just love it when you work. Shopping for real estate. A renter once told me that if I have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get a house, I'm not going to do it. And today she's still renting. And let me tell you, buying a home is a hoop jumping contest. And when I told you that I was going to coach you on how to buy a home, that's what I'm going to do right now. When you shop for a home that's not new construction, because new construction is a different animal. But if you're buying an existing home, you're going to be dealing with sellers. And sellers are emotional, and sellers make unfair and unreasonable demands. And sellers sometimes behave very poorly. And a lot of times we'll step back and go, I can't believe this seller is behaving like this. And it's just because this is likely the biggest transaction that you're ever going to do or that they're ever going to do. And we get some incredible examples of people getting super, super emotional. And buyers do it too. Don't get me wrong. If you're looking at this and you're a buyer, then you're going to find that it gets really tense. Now, I want to talk about the realtor lawsuit because the realtor lawsuit has changed the game. You cannot be shown a house now by a realtor without signing a buyer's broker agreement. This agreement spells out the commission between you, the buyer, and the agent. Now, that agent is going to do everything in their power to have the seller pay their fee. But because of the realtor lawsuit, it was determined by the Department of Justice and the National Association of Realtors that realtors showed houses that paid big commission. And that makes sense. You put a big fat commission on it, and all the realtors are going to show it. And what the net result is that the realtors lost a $410 million lawsuit, and they may be going the way of commission stockbrokers and travel agents. But excuse me, for right now, you can get a realtor, and if they do their job correctly, they'll get the seller to pay their fee. But that fee must be outlined in writing before a realtor can show you a home. So let's break it down. If you're buying a home, you're either going to be cash or financing. I'm going to go through both of them. I'm going to go through the costs, and we're going to talk about the various aspects of buying a home. If you're FHA or VA or USDA, FHA and VA and USDA are all government programs. This is going to be the helpful program that's going to allow you to buy a house if you're a first-time homeowner. Or if you haven't owned a home in 3 years, you can be a first-time home buyer again. A VA means military, and USDA has to do with its rural location. Conventional is everything that's not FHA, VA, or USDA, and you don't need to know it. But I will tell you what you do need to know. PMI is private mortgage insurance. And if you do one of these loans, an FHA loan, you're going to have private mortgage insurance. If you do VA or USDA, you're going to have other fees, but these fees are not part of a conventional, no PMI, no private mortgage insurance loan. And if possible, avoid PMI. And you may not have a choice, but a PMI will add $150, $200, $250 or more to your monthly payment. So please get a loan if you can with no PMI. All right, so we're going to talk about the timeline. You've got your pre-approval, you've gone out there and you've gone shopping, you found a home you like, you're going to put it under contract. And let me tell you, that was a hoop jumping contest. 3 days after the contract, within 3 days, you've got to have your earnest money deposit. This is the money that's going to hold the house. 15 days later, your inspection period ends. 30 days later, you must get your approval. Your pre-approval is just that. It's a pre-approval, but you've got to get a letter from your financier, from your lender at the 30-day mark. And if you miss the 30-day mark, you have become a cash buyer. Wait, I'm financing. I have a financing contingency. Well, you did, but if you didn't notify the seller the status of your financing at 30 days and request an extension for your final approval, then you become a cash buyer and you can lose your deposit and it can get really ugly. And if you're a first-time home buyer and you don't understand this, you definitely have to have an advocate that's going to help you with this. What's it going to cost? And I'm not talking about how much the house is going to cost. I'm talking about the home inspections. I'm talking about the credit report. The big thing is the home inspection. And I got $600 to $1,300 here, but it can be as low as $450. The inspection, Breakdown. Okay, 600 to 1300 is the total. Here's the breakdown. Your inspection is 450 or $500. The wind mitigation, I don't like wind mit. Let's just change that to wind mitigation, is a cost that will save you a bunch of money on your insurance. That is, if the home will pass a wind mitigation test. Sewer camera. If you're buying a 1970s or 1980s home, it is likely that the cast iron septic sewer drain pipe is bad, and it's $10,000 or $15,000 to fix it. And it's very likely that these homes have a bad sewage line. And this $600 looks like a big expense, but so many homes have a bad sewer line. If you're buying a home with a septic tank, you're going to have to get a septic inspection. And you may do all of this and still not get the house. And that is just crushing. So even if you get a no money down deal, you still have to make a deposit on the contract to hold the house. Generally, it's 1%. On small transaction, we try to get away with $1,000. But even if you're doing a no money down deal, you're still going to need to have some money to hold the house. And you'll get that back at closing if you get a no money down deal. And let me tell you, no money down deals are not, they're rarish. I mean, they happen, but they're rarish. Okay. You're likely going to have to bring some money to the table, and we're not going to know that until we do an application and get a chance to check your credit. In the old days of COVID, you couldn't get concessions, and I didn't talk about concessions, and I don't have a segue to this, but it's possible to get the seller to pay your closing fees. And that's why you're going to need a realtor to go in there and help you negotiate and to help you induce the seller to pay your closing fees. Now, the problem is in really good deals, really well-priced product, homes that have great amenities, there's going to be multiple offers, and you're not going to get closing fees in a scenario like that. So shopping for a home where you can get a concession is going to require you to look at homes that aren't hot. So what's your situation? You're either a cash buyer or you're financing. If you're cash, you don't need a mortgage broker. If you're financing, you're either in one of three categories. You're in little or no money, you're 5 or 10% down, or you're 20% down. This is all going to be based on your credit and your income. And you're going to have 2 years of tax return. If you're self-employed, we can get you a loan if you have 2 years of tax return and you show enough income. So let's say you have little or no money down and bad credit. Well, you're not getting a house. What you're going to have to do is fix your credit, and you're going to have to find the money. And the way you find the money is through down payment assistance programs, grants, classes, gifts. If you have medical, medical bills that weren't paid, in theory, it doesn't count against you. It will count against your credit score, but it shouldn't count against you when you're buying a home. And I say should because this is a new change in the system. And let's see if it really worked. All right, down payment assistance programs. I'm going to actually get into a specific programs that are available that you can use for down payment assistance program. And I'm going to do it in a way that I've never done in a webinar environment. And I ponder whether I should do it right now. Let's go ahead and check out one home. This is going to be a little bit weird. Okay, you can't see the whole screen, and that's why it's going to be a little bit weird. But if you are in a realtor system, I sent this to myself so that I could show you what I'm talking about. So here's a home that's available. And if you click on this home, it's going to give you a lot of content. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like. And this is not a great illustration because it's inside of the Zoom, the webinar framework. But this is going to give you all of this information regarding the property. And when you get down to here, I just want you to see this. Oh, I moved the wrong one. Let's move this one. Ah, I did not mean to hit that, but you're going to end up on that screen. Let me see if I can show you how to get to the screen. Okay. Right here under request a tour is something called down payment assistant, down payment resource. And I have a link. It's a little long. I'm not going to give it to you now, but all you have to do is reach out to me and let me email you properties. And then you can go to One Home and under request a tour is this button, see programs. This property may qualify for 26 programs. So when I click on that button, it's going to take me to this screen. And this screen doesn't, okay, I got it back. Okay, great. Hey, I lost it again. Okay, I got it. Stop touching the buttons. All right, I'm in this button. I'm going to try to stay here. You may be eligible. This house is eligible for 26 programs. I've got to move this. I can't show it to you any other way. Oh, okay, I moved it. So there it is. I wonder if I could just move this bar. I did. I can do that. So let me just try it that way. All right. So here are 26 programs that this particular house may qualify for. FHAFC, $10,830. This one is a different one for $10,000. This one is out of funds. CBC Mortgage Chenoa Fund, an FHA forgivable down payment assistance for up to $11,400 or 5% of the purchase price. And here are all the terms. Here's another one from CBC Mortgage Chenoa Fund. All right, here's another one that's already out of money. And you can find all of these under One Home, which is what a realtor will send you on a property. So any property that you see will have that button that says you may be able to qualify for down payment assistance. And this is 26. These yellow ones are oh, they're limitations. So these are the limitations on those. So the other yellow one was out. I went through this the other day. I didn't see the yellows, but there they are. And here's a button that will give you more information. And then here's when you're in this, you're going to get an opportunity to, and it's on that other screen. But when you click on, and now this one's restarting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and X this out, but you get the point. Under requested tour is down payment assistance, and here you can see the program. And just for fun, let me see. Okay, here it is. It came up. See if you are eligible. And what you'll do is you'll fill out this application. It's not an application because you're not going to give them your credit report, but you can fill all this out and it'll tell you which ones that you are eligible for. Let me get rid of this screen. Boom. Okay, let's go back into our presentation about buying a home. We were in down payment assistance programs. So let's say you have some money down. If you're going to go FHA, you're going to need 3.5% down for FHA. And you're going to need 6% in closing fees and prepaids. And you think, what does all that mean? What it means is on a $300,000 house, you're going to need 3.5%, which is $10,500. And then you're going to need as much as 6% for closing fees and prepaids. And that's another $18,000. So you need, let's call it $30,000 to buy a home FHA if you don't use down payment assistance. But if you have 30 grand down and you don't want to work on down payment and you want to buy a house, you can call me tomorrow. We can get something under contract. Now, I don't know that there's motivated buyers out there that are need a house tomorrow. It'll take you 4 to 6 weeks to get the home when you go through FHA. Now, it's possible we can get the seller to pay the 6%. But what happens is, and I said you need to be coached. I bought a lot of properties for a lot of people. And if I have to go ask the seller to pay the 6% for closing fees, then we lose negotiating power. And the number of houses available plummets. Now, there may be 4,000 properties, residential properties in a particular county. But when you say which ones are qualified for FHA, it may drop down to as much as, say, 2,200 houses. And a lot of those might be condos or villas or 55 and older. When you get rid of all those, we may be down to 1,000 properties. And of those 1,000 properties, the really good deals all sold in the first week or 10 days or 2 weeks, and none of them paid the 6% for the buyer's closing fees. So you're going to need to realize that if you're shopping and you need down payment assistance, closing fees from the seller, that you've got a real challenge. And I talked about the disaster zone, presidential disaster zone. If you were affected by the storms and you're in one of these counties, then you can get what's known as a 203H. And this is a no money down FHA loan. The problem with it is that when you put no money down, they charge you more on the interest rate. And the more you put down, the better your rate is going to be. But if you're in one of these counties and you were affected by the storm, and from what I understand, all you need is a picture of furniture floating in your house. It's likely if you are affected by the storm and you're watching this video and you're not aware of this, you still may be in a hotel that's being paid for by FEMA. And that FEMA voucher will be enough for you to qualify. The motel voucher will be enough for you to qualify for a 203H program. So if you are affected by the storms and you can prove it, then we can go out there and attempt to get a seller to pay the 6% in closing fees, and you could get a property no money down. And please, I'm dying to do a no money down deal. I will find you a house where they will pay you the 6% in your closing fees and prepaids. Now, let's say you've got cash, you've got 20% down, $300,000 house, you've got $60,000 for your down payment. You've got another, let's say, 18,000 for closing fees and prepaids. We're going to get you a deal. You're going to get the best rate. You're going to get the best terms. We're going to be able to negotiate a better price because you are the next best thing to a cash buyer. Cash buyers always want the best deal. And, everything in life is terms or price. And I should put that down. Terms or price. And many of you know exactly what I mean. When you've got cash, you get a better deal. So I talked about sellers a little bit. I want to talk about them again because sellers are challenging, especially if you need to go ask them for closing fees. They don't want to do it. And sellers get to decide what kind of buyer that they'll consider. When a realtor goes in there and talks to a seller about listing their home, they get to ask the seller, would you be willing to sell it to an FHA buyer? Would you be willing to sell it to a VA buyer? A USDA only works in rural areas. So if it's a rural area and it will take a USDA loan, USDA loan is a no money down loan, and it's great if you can get a USDA loan. A VA is wonderful. If you're a veteran and you want a loan, give me a call. You're going to get a great deal on the no money down part of the equation. But the seller will look at their home, excuse me, the realtor will look at their home and counsel the seller and say, look, your property needs work. It's not gonna qualify for FHA. And they're not even going to offer it FHA. And I get calls from buyers, FHA approved buyers, and they say, I don't understand. You're sending me all these houses, but what about these? Zillow's got 5 houses. You didn't send them to me. And the reason I didn't send them to you is because they won't pass. They won't pass inspection. And you got to know, if you're an FHA buyer, you kind of have a little bit of a challenge. Everybody wants a good deal. And if you're an FHA buyer, you want a good deal, but good deals need work. That's why they price them better. And if they need work, they may not pass inspection, or they won't pass inspection. So I get all kinds of inquiries from realtors on my listings, and they say, oh, I saw this property and it looks like a great deal, and I've got an FHA buyer. And I have to tell them, look, it's not going to pass inspection. It won't go FHA. Oh, it looks like it might. So if you're an FHA buyer and you're not being properly coached and you haven't gotten a house, and you're on my webinar because you can't get a house and you don't understand, you call me and I'll coach you on how, even if I'm not your realtor or your mortgage broker, I will coach you on the challenge that you already know the challenge. Here's the thing. There's people out there that got pre-approved. They've got a pre-approval and they can't get a house, and they don't understand, and they still don't have a house. And there's, why can't I buy a house? And the answer is because FHA buyers are, well, I think it's on the next slide. FHA buyers are great. They'll pay the most amount of money. They'll pay the full appraised value. They don't fight over the price because everything is price and terms. And FHA buyers generally, I mean, look, everybody wants a low payment. Everyone wants a good price. But after you've made offers on 10 or 15 properties, an FHA buyer, and didn't get a house, you suddenly start thinking, you know what? I need a house. And FHA buyers are the most likely to put a house under contract and then have it fall through. Inspections cause FHA buyers to not get the house. It could be 4 or 5 weeks before a transaction goes bad for an FHA buyer. And sellers know this, and it causes sellers to not appreciate FHA buyers. And I got to tell you, I love FHA buyers. FHA buyers are willing to do what they have to do to get a house, but they just might not get the perfect house. They might have to settle. So if you don't know, if you're out there shopping and you have a pre-approval and you are an FHA buyer and you don't know it, oh my gosh, you have not been properly coached. A lot of realtors want to see your pre-approval. Oh, are they pre-approved? Are they pre-approved? I want to know, are you FHA? Because if you're FHA, I need to coach you on lowering your expectations. No hot new listings for FHA buyers. No houses with multiple offers. No homes that need work. No homes that won't pass inspection. Good deals, by definition, are priced better because they need work. Now, there is exceptions, and this is the weirdest thing. And they say, oh, tell stories on your videos. People love stories. And I'm going to tell you a story about Kingsbridge. This was a probate property that was vacant. It had a realtor who worked for the probate attorney, and the realtor was clueless. I happened to be a friend of the beneficiary, and I stepped in to help. And this never would have happened in real life. It did happen, but the buyer was a contractor, and the realtor who was representing the buyer said, my buyer will make the repairs. So they did an inspection. They found all these horrible things, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 worth of stuff needed to be repaired. And this guy, the buyer, he came in for 5 or 6 days, every day, all day long. And he took that list of all those repairs. And I'm telling you, he spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and he fixed every little thing that was wrong to allow this home to go FHA. that I knew would never go FHA, but it was really unusual to let a buyer come into a house. If you own the house, you wouldn't let somebody come in there and do work on it. And then the buyer, for him to spend all this money on somebody else's house, it was a unique situation, a bizarre situation, very unusual. But the point is that you can get things done if you want to get things done. Failed inspections. We don't need to go through all this. The current market. All right, let's talk about the current market. Condos are bad. Don't buy a condo. I was trying to write a song. Uh, you say condo, I say townhouse. You say condo, I say villa. Okay. No condos. I live in a condo. My condo fee went from $350 to $815. Now I am on the water, and you got to, know that you're giving up a lot of financial freedom to live on the water. But avoid condos and flood zones. Do not get lured into buying in a flood zone. Hurricane Helene taught us lessons we never knew that we needed to get. But if you're a buyer and you want to buy in a flood zone, even if you're a cash buyer, don't buy in a flood zone, because they're going to require flood insurance on every home in Florida, even if they're not in a flood zone. And that's going to add to the expenses. Now, if you buy a home that's not in a flood zone, the flood insurance might only be $200 or $300 or $500 a year, but they're going to require every home in Florida to have flood insurance. Okay, I'm going to finish this up. Here's some resources. randyj.zoomseminar.com/book. And you can book a call with me if you don't want to just call me on the phone. If you want to call me on the phone, my phone number is 727-409-4663, which is easy to remember. It's like 409 Formula 409 spray cleaner, 409 home, 727-409-4663. And I am a mortgage broker at American Mortgage Services. And I have my own real estate company called Florida Real Estate Partners. And I am the broker of my company, which gives me a lot of freedom. So what do you need? You need an advocate. You need an advisor. You need a gladiator in your corner to help you get what you want. I stole that from somebody. You don't want to learn from your mistakes. You want to have somebody in your corner that's going to help you get what you want, or tell you you can't have it. You're not ready to buy a home. And I hate to say it, but 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 of the people I talk to, they are not ready to buy a home. Go out there and rent, work on your credit, work on your income, get your tax returns, find the down payment, go to the down payment assistance programs, go to the classes, get the grant money. People spend all this time. I'm on Zillow. I'm looking for a house. I'm shopping. I say spend that amount of time or more finding the money, getting pre-qualified, solving the puzzle. And I submit that I'm just the person for your challenging needs. Did I go backwards? Where did that slide come from? I thought I just did it. Oh, there's a few of the deals I've done. Resources. I put a lot of content out on YouTube at Randal Jenkins Realtor. My Facebook page, Florida Real Estate Partners, has a lot of resources. Listing reports is a resource that I have and I use. Florida Real Estate Family is a website I have. 409home.com is another website. AI, Chat GPT. If this screen wasn't so small, I would jump on Chat GPT and show you how to use AI to shop for a house. Anyway, where's that last slide? I'm going to jump back in here and put my last screen up there and say thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I came from the financial services industry where I spent 18 years, and we allegedly did the best thing for our customers. And sometimes we bought investments that didn't work out so good, but we only did what we felt was the right thing to do. And I brought this attitude over into this industry, into real estate. And I will tell you, don't do that. Don't buy that home if it makes no sense. I'll tell you not to do a mortgage if it doesn't look like it's in your best interests. And I'll tell you if it's a wrong time for you to buy because of your credit or your income or the requirements that they're putting on you. Anyway, I'm Randy Jenkins. I appreciate you watching my video. I wish you the best. Have a great day. Bye now.